Hello, I'm Joe Barks. Welcome to another edition of The Road Ahead, brought to you by Club Resort Business, Club Resort Chef, and the Club Resort Chef Association. Today's episode is brought to you by Hunt Textiles. Since 1977, Hunt Textiles has provided a wide range of wholesale linen products to clubs and resorts across the country. If you're looking to upgrade your pool towels, locker room towels, or golf cart towels this season, Hunt Textiles has quality selections that can fit any budget. Custom embroidery is available on any towel that Hunt Textiles offers. Or maybe you are remodeling a dining area and need new linen. Hunt Textiles has a great assortment of options in both 100% cotton damask as well as high-performing polyester napkins and tablecloths. If your facility is in need of a new linen supplier, Hunt Textiles welcomes the opportunity to prove the company to you and to earn your business. Learn more at hunttextiles.com. The Country Club of Virginia in Richmond, Virginia has always been at the forefront of innovation in the club industry. Our annual Ideas issue always features plenty of progressive and effective concepts that have been implemented successfully by the CCV staff. Not surprisingly, the events of the past year have also put the CCV team out in front for looking at how the pandemic has called for a rethinking of many aspects of club management and operations. And with us today to share some of those insights and some of their new approaches are CCV's General Manager Phil Kiester and the club's Food and Beverage Director Ryan Bender. Thank you both for giving us a few minutes today. Phil, I know over the course of your career and your time at CCV, you've experienced a lot of interesting times, but I gather that the events of the past year have really brought some unique and special challenges for you. How's the CCV had to evolve over the past year?
Wow, it's been an extraordinary year. Like most clubs, we've had to accept the brutal facts of our new reality. We're living in a pandemic, that the old normal is not coming back, and we have to embrace the next normal. You know, sometimes it's been like walking on a tightrope blindfolded, balancing the severity of COVID's impact with the need to provide normality for our members. Despite the confusing and sometimes discouraging reality, we've had to have the faith that it would be okay, and we had to be resolved to prevail. And I know it sounds crazy to say this, but remarkably, despite it all, in the last 14 months, our team did the best work of my 9+ years at CCV.
Well, that's really saying a lot with all that CCV's accomplished with new facilities, how it's grown over that time. Why do you say that? Why do you think your team has done its best work?
Well, I think like every club, we've faced many challenges during the last year. The sudden threat of a faceless enemy, the struggle to close the club, furlough staff, bring the staff back, then reopen with continually changing and often ambiguous guidelines. You know, in normal times, change is really in our DNA. The club's motto is an evolution to excellence through continuous improvement. And the motto is more than words that are put in a frame and put on the wall. It really defines who we are, and we live it. The last year, though, involved a kind of change really different than evolution. The change was relentless and it was unpredictable. And at the beginning, we found ourselves slow to adapt. It seemed like we were always behind. It took us a while to get the pace right. We learned that while continuous improvement and evolution are part of who we are, the pandemic required a really different kind of change. It really required innovation. And it's strange to say, but we tried many things we thought really crazy things that normally we would have analyzed to death. And we were surprised that most worked. This thinking fast, moving quickly, and disregarding failure was really new to us. And we learned we liked it. And in some instances, we were good at it. And so now we face a new challenge, how to develop and sustain an innovation culture.
Ryan, creating an innovation culture really seems like quite a takeaway from the pandemic. How did you get there?
Well, you know, we really had to learn some lessons first. And the first 4 things in particular. First was to start with a clean sheet of paper. Our normal approach to club activities was to take what we had done before and improve upon it slightly. Small calculated additions. When our state tightened restrictions right before the Christmas holidays. Just as an example, we created a completely new slate of events in 7 days. We were forced to start fresh, and it worked incredibly well. Second thing that we learned was that, not all sacred cows are sacred. We're a traditional club. It wasn't rare to say to ourselves, we do it this way because the members like it that way. But it's really important to choose your mental model consciously. The members could enjoy something completely new even more, and it really turned out that they did. The third thing we learned was to overcome our fear of failure. We often let the perfect be the enemy of the good. We're afraid of the negative possible outcomes of an idea or how the members might react to it. But we quickly learned that the more we simply just tried, the better the end result turned out to be. At the same time, we've learned how much more we are capable of doing, more than we ever had thought possible. Over the past year, we often received praise from the members for just trying something new, even if it didn't work. And prior to learning this, our low risk tolerance prevented many scenarios like that from happening. And lastly, we learned that we're all in this together, and that really translates for the future. What's unique about the time and the space we're now in is that everybody is going through a shared experience. In our case, we found that making our communications more personal has strengthened the connection between the members and the club. Prior to this, we favored professional communications over personal. We made it personal by developing communications that brought the personalities of the staff into the members' homes. And we learned that creative, more casual communications are pleasing in and of themselves. They sparked conversation and brought humor to a time when we could all use a good laugh.
Well, it really sounds like you've come up with a lot of creative new approaches, but have you figured it all out, or is there still more to do?
Oh gosh, we have not figured it out. While our members have applauded the fresh approach to familiar things, they now expect things they never expected before and may not know they expect now. And so while we've learned a lot, we're far from done. The most important thing is to carry the lessons learned forward and to fight that gravitational pull back to our old ways of slow and steady wins the race. We need to create a culture that balances the thoughtful pace of evolution, which is really where we've been in the past, with the creativity of innovation. And this challenge is maybe greater than the many challenges of the last year. No one would blame us for taking a deep breath and retreating to the comfortable routine that was successful for us in the past.
Well, as the threat of COVID diminishes, and it sounds like CCV is really ramping up for a lot of activity this year, how do you plan to make sure that these lessons you've learned and these new approaches you've adapted are retained and used going forward?
Well, like Phil had said, Joe, we are still trying to figure that out, but it's important. The biggest challenge we're facing is learning how to keep our dedication to innovation at this new high level. In the situation we've all been in over the course of the last 14 months, there was no other option. We had to do it. Much of the great work was simply a result of how we responded when we had no other choice. So how can we incorporate this into our day-to-day without the natural stress and urgency that the pandemic and state mandates created? We have to answer that question.
Along the same lines, adopting an innovation mindset is a lot easier in the middle of a pandemic with no firm timeline. It's easier to unite and act with urgency when we're faced with a common enemy or a common challenge. We had no idea that the past year would be just that, a year. It felt like things might change in 2 weeks or a month. And only now are any of us really looking back and understanding the amount of work we've done and what we've pushed through. And at this point, people are tired, not just from pushing at work, but they're emotionally drained too. We've done some things to celebrate our successes and to reward the staff who fueled our accomplishments the last year. But I worry that we haven't done enough. And I think we'll struggle with how do we keep work fun and make sure that innovation becomes part of our DNA. And I guess, ironically, it seems now we have a new mountain to climb, having enough staff, having the right staff, getting them trained and up to speed. And that challenge will unite us again and test our ability to be both innovative and evolutionary.
Well, I want to thank you both very much for sharing these really thoughtful insights today. Once again, they show how CCV is at the forefront of taking new looks at traditional club management approaches and finding innovative new ways to keep moving forward and staying on the road ahead. And what you shared today should really be very helpful to all club managers as they look at how they should be adapting and evolving at their own properties as we all go forward and get out of this. So thank you again, both. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Joe. We appreciated being invited to participate.
Well, once again, this has been The Road Ahead, brought to you by Club Resort Business, Club Resort Chef, and the Club Resort Chef Association. And today's episode was sponsored by Hunt Textiles. If you have a great idea or success story you'd like to see featured on a future episode of The Road Ahead, please contact us at editor@clubresortbusiness.com.